You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Downton Abbey After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Downton Abbey After Show.
Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us for another AfterBuzz TV After Show for Series 4 of Downton Abbey, Episode 5. I'm John Comerford, and I'm joined in the studio by Tamara, Berg.
Hi, everybody.
Courtney, Stewart.
Hello.
And in the booth is Stephen Lemieux. Thank you, Stephen.
Hello.
So this week we get Alfred going on Top Chef London. We have Mary has a new suitor, but I think we should start off with the Anna storyline. I think more than anything, this is the carryover, and we're still seeing the after effects of this horrible event.
Yes.
And, it was interesting that they decided to really get Bates involved, because just like the prison, we were going, when's he going to find out? Let's move the story along. Let's get it going. And they certainly did this time.
Yes. So it's just been a few days because Anna was covering up her bruise.
Well, we think it's been longer than that because she knows there's no baby. So
That's true.
we're guessing it's been a few weeks maybe after the event. So
but not months. Certainly.
Certainly not months. So she still has bruises. We know that she's covering those up as well as covering up everything else, metaphorically. So, and I thought it was interesting the way they opened it with Bates being alone again and not going to. They're living in separate
quarters.
Quarters, thank you. And he's alone, and that shot right there. He's all alone going to the house. And I thought, oh, okay. So
right, it just sets it off on a really kind of sad note.
You're already sad, exactly. And then you see Anna all alone, just touching up the bruises so she can try to hide them and try to. And I'm just going, man, they're
so
still not. Yeah, that was the thing.
It was painful.
You just want them to be able to. You want her to be able to confide in him. You want him to be able to protect her. Mm-hmm. And of course, the awkwardness the whole time, the whole storyline. Every time he tries to do something, it gets nowhere. Gets shut down like crazy. And Mrs Hughes is making excuses for Anna. Oh, I give her more work.
Clever excuses, though.
Yeah.
She's a smart lady.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was a smart lady.
Yeah, until, of course, go ahead.
But, the heartbreaking moment was when Bates says, "Why don't you love me anymore?" Which we all know is the opposite of the truth. And it's just so sad that that's what he thinks.
Well, yeah, and what does he say? His whole world, I mean, that's it. His world's over. And he wants to leave because he can't stay there anymore.
Right.
Because he just can't live like that. It's torture.
It was torture to watch.
So, and then we think, they have that, Anna and Mrs. Hughes have their little meeting in the hallway there.
Yes.
And that's where we learn she's not pregnant. So, as Courtney was.
Yeah, so worried about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So at least that part of it isn't come
Our
to
fears are allayed.
Exactly.
But I'm scarred because every time I see that hallway, I'm just uncomfortable now. When she was running down there, Mrs. Hughes is at the end of it yelling for him, like, you guys have destroyed the servants' quarters for all eternity for me.
So we need something really good.
I just saw it and she's by herself and I'm like, oh God, something else could be down there. Just don't go. I hate it all.
Oh man, I didn't even see that, but that's great.
I can't even imagine why she'd even want to be there when she wanted to, obviously she doesn't want to be with Bates because she can't be touched, but the idea of living there again would just be,
that was so weird that that's how desperate she is, that she's willing to live in the quarters even though that event occurred in those.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
It's crazy.
So of course they have their little tete-a-tete, Mrs. Hughes and Anna, and
Bates overhears.
Oh my God.
And it sounds like she's cheating on him, right?
Oh yeah, that's what I thought. Marissa's like, oh my God, he's gonna think she's cheating on him. What? No, they're gonna go there. I honestly went that way. And I go, really, Julian's gonna go there? Mm-hmm. And I thought for sure that's how they were gonna tell the story, but obviously that's not the case. I thought it was interesting too because we usually see the bad guy, Thomas or Mrs. O'Brien. They're the ones always lurking and hearing everything. And this time, and I by the way did not for a second think that was gonna happen.
No, I would totally surprised
They haven't done that in so long, and I never thought Bates would overhear it like that. So.
Well, it's interesting that you said usually it's the bad guy that's doing that. It was Bates doing that, and there's something very dark about Bates.
What? What are you saying? What do you mean? What do you mean dark? I think.
The dark side is coming.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think there's anything dark about him. I think he was perfectly. All right. So he finally goes to Mrs. Hughes. He's trying to get her to tell everything, and I thought she was very coy there, Mrs. Hughes.
Well, and it's while Anna is out, so he knows that she can't catch him talking about it.
And she's not. Mrs. Hughes is not going to give up the everything anyway until he threatens, because he's ready to leave. And she
great threat though. I mean, it was really she didn't have any choice. But what I loved about him in these moments where he said, I think it was here when he said, I've been happier here than I ever thought I deserved I could be. Much happier than ever possible, but it's all broken right now.
Poor Mrs. Hughes. Jeez, that's the worst position to be in ever.
Yeah, I know. It's horrible.
And how did she think? She just thought of that on the spot. Like,
I know. She's so good.
She's good.
She's really good. I don't know what about. But it was a man from outside.
An outsider.
An outsider, which is
stranger.
I swear.
But okay, but does anybody really? I mean, we know. But even at that moment, do you think Bates believed her? We know later on he doesn't. He knows it's not over and all this other stuff, and that's what he says. But do you think he believed her that she didn't know?
I feared that he did actually at that moment, but he knew. He immediately said,
"Oh yeah,
if it's the valet, he's a dead man."
Yeah.
Because that was they made a point of him seeing Green come. He was the one person who wasn't in watching the concert, and he was the one guy who came back, fixing his vest.
Yep.
So they made a point of that, and he saw him. So I'm sure that's part of the reason why he. Why he brought that up, but also I think he just he objected to the interactions between them when Green was there.
Yeah, and it wasn't just because he was flirting with Anna. He sensed something about I guess because Bates has got a dark side. I'm sure you can sense the dark side in others, right? So I think that's what it is. So all right, so he has that great scene with Mrs. Hughes, and she of course hides the fact of who actually was the perpetrator, and then of course he has to, in some fashion, confront Anna, and that occurs later.
Yeah, one more thing about that scene, though. She says, he says, I will leave, and, threatening that Anna will never see me again.
Right.
And she says something to the effect of the pain.
Mrs. Hughes,
thank you, Mrs. Hughes. The pain of coming home and you being gone would finish her.
Yeah.
And it would.
Yeah,
and I mean, especially, but hearing her say that, I thought,
Yeah.
Didn't you?
Destroyed.
Yeah, because she's so fragile right now anyway. To have that one thing that she could rely on and depend on not be there, I don't.
And she's already said she'd kill herself if she ended up pregnant or got found out in that whatever that. She said she would kill herself. So she'd rather die than have him find out who really did it.
Which is why it's such a great threat, because Mrs. Hughes buys it completely but still holds. I mean, that's what's so good about her. She still holds the one piece back. Because the one thing she really knows that Anna cares about is, just don't let him find out who it is.
Yep.
And even Anna's not willing to say.
But I don't think he believed either.
No, I don't think she did. I think he knows it's Green.
Yeah.
And I think he's holding that part off and letting them, shall we say, rest easy, so to speak.
Exactly.
And that it's sufficient. Except at least he's going to let Anna think that, But let's talk specifically about their scene. Go ahead.
And one of the other elements is, Mary saying to Anna, if you're having difficulties, I really wish you would tell me. And Anna says no. We had a YouTube comment, DP 2024 said, I think Mary's going to find out what happened and be the one to take care of business because Anna's her girl.
Okay.
I hope so.
So, I mean, I think it's part of the unfortunate hunting accident.
Right.
I've been predicting it all along.
But which would you prefer? Now, if it were to come to pass, would you want Mary to handle it, or do you want Bates to handle it?
No. What I want is Mary's going to set it up, and Bates is going to handle it, and Mary's going to help cover it up.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. You in with that, Courtney?
It's the unfortunate hunting accident.
He has to be able to do it himself.
Exactly.
Because there's just justice in that. And then
I said to you as we were watching it, we kind of got it all cleaned up at least for this episode, and I said to you, I go, that's going to be an awesome return when we come back around to the story.
Yeah.
Because I'm certain, and several people said, if this is not resolved in a satisfactory way, I can't even tell you how pissed I'm going to be. That's paraphrase. But on the flip side of that, I think when it comes, because I know it will, it's going to be so sweet. The revenge is going to be so sweet.
Wow. Okay.
Hashtag unfortunate hunting accident.
But so were you? Well, how did you feel about the Anna and Bates scene then when that came down? Because I know you were. Oh, really, Courtney? You were teary.
I wasn't teary for real, but I was very pleased, obviously, that like it was a load off of me because I was so tired of their like tension and her, and I just was like, just say something to him. Like I don't even know, make up something, but like make it. I just wanted it to stop, especially like the scene before where she was polishing shoes and he came in to polish shoes and he was just saying how I can't talk to you. It's weird standing here. And then the moment when he was waiting at the bottom of the stairs for her, and she's like, you don't have to wait for me every time. And he's like, I want you to be the first thing I see in the morning. I'm like, I cannot keep watching this. Like I cannot keep watching this happen.
Courtney.
So it was beautiful to finally have it resolved for me. So it was a selfish moment of emotion, but
Julian Fellows, Courtney, thanks to you.
Thank you very much
for putting Courtney out of her misery.
But I did appreciate Anna breathing for a minute. Like that when she just exhaled so strong and fell onto his chest. Like whatever he said, obviously he was just trying to comfort her and be okay for her, but when they let her, she just had this really deep breath. Like she just let it all out and sort of collapsed on him. I was like, oh, Anna. So that was good for me.
You really felt for her.
Her bringing back the idea that she is stained, tainted,
Oh yeah, she
spoiled.
keeps saying
That's
that.
the word.
Spoiled.
And she has such shame about it.
Yeah.
Is so painful to watch, and that's not going away for her. But the fact that she could vocalize that to him, and he could kind of help share the burden in that was, a little bit of relief, and I was glad to see that.
Yeah, because that was the thing. She, just so we say the line is, she said her shame has nowhere to hide. And it's like, thank God. So at least she's not carrying that part of it anymore.
Yeah.
Well, and just bless him for saying, I'm so
in love with you,
proud of you for going through this, and I've never loved you more.
Yeah.
So he really can. He is really, celebrating her virtues.
Because she totally said, I'm spoiled for you.
Yeah.
I
Not
know.
like I'm spoiled because I feel disgusting or I'm hard. It's because for you, I'm not this anymore. And that was just devastating.
The one thing I wanted Mrs. Hughes going back one is I wanted her to let him know that I don't know who it is, but even if I did, or I say rather than that, you say I don't know who it is, and Anna doesn't want you to find out because she's afraid of what you'll do.
Yes.
And I wanted him to know that part of Anna and what her concerns are, and that way. And I missed that didn't happen, or at least we didn't see it happen. Who knows if it's going to in upcoming episodes? But I wanted him to be aware of that because first of all, he should know that, and secondly, I think that makes it even a harder choice for him because he's going to know he's going to really want to avenge all this and to and then to know that on Anna the other side doesn't want him to do anything. I mean, that would be great.
Well, not only
conflict.
she doesn't want him to, but he knows that if he does, he could rob her of her great love of her life.
Yeah, exactly.
By doing that, and I agree with you. I think that was a little bit of a misstep in not mentioning that to.
I want him to be aware of it. Now, hopefully, they will get to that because because I mean, oh my God, that is the rock and the hard place.
That is.
Yeah.
So I so desperately want to kill that man,
Right,
but I don't want her to feel that grief and misery.
Right, again.
Of me being in prison again.
Well,
exactly.
he'd be dead. They hang him.
Kill him.
Exactly. So.
Well, but his final line on the matter.
Oh yeah.
Be aware, nothing is over and done with. Nothing.
Yeah. And there's the dark side.
And it was really dark.
I
said down and those eyebrows went up a little, and I was like, ooh, Bates, his whole angle of his face changed. And Mrs. Hughes was just standing there like,
even the lighting on it.
Like it was very intense.
Yeah. But I thought what was interesting too is we had prior to that scene, we had the scene of him alone in the stairwell when he breaks down, and he can, I mean, for me, I think that was him just feeling such pain for his wife rather than for him. It was just that he hated seeing her in such misery.
Yeah, and I feel like he, in that moment, it was like knowing, because he knows who did it.
Yeah, I think he does.
No doubt in my mind he knows.
Does.
And I feel like he just was like, and I
wasn't there.
I wasn't there. I didn't protect her, and it's awful.
Ugh.
It's so
Yeah,
bad.
and that's another great motivation for him. It's like I wasn't there to protect her, and I want to take care of business now. But if I do, I'm going to leave her alone.
protecting her. I'm leaving her alone.
Oh, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
So we hope that he gets his revenge. Mary covers it
Gonna
up.
be sweet. I'm telling you.
All right, so let's move on to Mary. Speaking of Mary.
Mary.
Let's go into the whole.
She is a magnet of love.
All right, yeah, let's talk about that part of it first. Then we'll get into the Lord Grantham thing,
Okay.
of course, because she finds out that Lord Gillingham has been engaged to
Officially.
Mabel. Officially, it's in the papers, and she's putting on a brave face about the whole thing.
Good for him. I'm so happy.
Yeah. I should
send him a letter.
Lovely. I'll send him a letter.
All of it was. I was just remembering everything she said from last week. The last lines where she's going to regret this and everything, and here it is, boom, right there. And in fact, we actually see her when she's writing a letter to him. That it's really getting to her. She's actually crying.
Have we even seen her actually shed tears before?
Well, I think so with the whole Matthew thing. I can't remember specifically what episode.
I remember
but
seeing her terribly, in pain and forlorn. But that,
especially about Sybil's death, and I don't know
that moment of her crying and just,
hiding it from everybody,
being the, proper lady, covering it up, so still talking like everything's fine, able to control. So it's, obviously not a wrenching pain, but it being, a great sadness. And that was, interesting to see because she really the only clue that we got was I feel I've done something I may regret.
Well, it's also because, she was talking about especially the series, but she's talking about how much the old Mary probably wouldn't have affected her.
Right.
But because of her love for Matthew and how he saw her, there's been a difference in her. And then had that never occurred, I don't think she'd ever been open to the idea of Lord Gillingham and what that might be and what she might be regretting. So I think that shows that there has been such, this change in her, this growth. And
self-awareness.
Exactly.
And
so,
understanding.
So, there's that too. Yeah, the whole thing, that sucks.
That does suck.
Exactly. But of course, as soon as one suitor's out of the, here comes another.
Minutes
Mr.
later.
Napier and
Magic Mary.
Yeah, and obviously they have some sort of history together, so they know each other. I don't know.
She perked up in Miracle.
Oh, very much.
Boy, was she perky.
I was like, whoa.
Even what they had her in, that purple and everything. Like, whoa, she's a little vibrant.
Yes.
Right. And so his first mention to her was, I've been thinking about you since the ghastly business, right?
The ghastly business,
exactly. Which I love that line. Yeah. But also remember that Gillingham didn't remember her husband was dead.
Yeah.
So it was like the instant contrast between the two guys. I felt like it was like right away we're going to show you who's who.
Yeah,
yes.
Different.
And it's so lovely looking at you, so lovely. I've made that mistake
not very
so
smooth.
many times.
Not smooth.
But it was great. It made me laugh.
But earnest.
It was.
So there you go.
And it was a contrast to just the same point that when Lord Gillingham came around, he was just sort of this non-exciting but okay kind of guy that kind of took her out and made her do the old things but still considering what she's becoming. But then this guy walks in and it's like bubbles of Mary floating in the sky in ways that but a similar sort of energy that Matthew eventually got her to get to.
Sure.
So it's interesting that she was exceptionally perky about Mr.
Yeah.
Napier.
Because I don't know the history. Did I miss something? Has there been any history with Mr. Napier? Not in any of the other episodes?
I don't think
I tried to find some online, and I didn't. I was like, did I miss someone? I don't think so.
I didn't have time to do any
There's so many
research on
people in their childhoods, though, that just sort of come back and go,
But then
look, we used to spend summers together. Really?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know enough about him. Is he appropriate? Is he right standing, so to speak?
I don't know.
Where does that from?
Well, I got scared when he started talking, obviously.
Absolutely. The rural thing with the economy and why he's there. Well, let's get into that. So he's there because he's been sent by the government, I guess, to assess
the great houses.
The great houses and how their estates are going, and some of them are not doing so well. Not Downton's, according to him. They're doing fine, but I don't think that's going to last. Why bring it up? Exactly. Why bring him in here if it's all going to be all hunky-dory?
And why be in the neighborhood? Because I don't think they're next door to another grand house.
Yeah, just happened to be in the neighborhood. Thought I'd drop by.
Drop by the neighborhood of all the grand houses because they're all here. No.
Nope, you're there for a reason.
So we think something's up there.
And your boss.
And of course, his boss is coming next episode. Charles Blakely or something?
Yes.
Whatever his name is.
I think Blakely was it.
Blake.
Okay.
Blake.
Thank you. So, and who knows how that's going to shake out, but it doesn't look like it's going to be good. And she's already at odds with Dad, not just for Mr. Drew, but for even this. She's trying to get information from Mr. Napier, and Dad's just like, nah, we don't need to burden him. And she's going, are you kidding me? He's right here, you know, and yeah. So.
Well, and interesting because, you know, it's essentially what Dad went through as they went over the, you know, when they were losing the estate, he'd lost all the money and had to change their priorities at Downton Abbey. And so here's a guy kind of doing the same thing that they just did a few years ago.
Right.
So it's kind of, you know, no, we're fine. We just did all this.
Nothing to see here. Move along.
Here, keep moving.
Move along, exactly. But the thing they do have to look at is that we have, unfortunately, one of the tenant farmers has passed away, Mr. Drew, and his son, the young Mr. Drew, has decided that he wants to take over where his father left off. Of course, his father left it in arrears because there's back rent to pay. And I thought the graveside, when he's talking, you know, it's not like, what, you were going to do business at the graveside? Really?
Yeah, right. Can we, like,
exactly. Couldn't we just
do this at the house?
Yeah, but, you know, it's like, do they just want to get out of Downton for a while? Is that why they do? Anyway, so, but no, that's where they start their business. And, you know, he mentions to him, and he asks for Lord Grantham's help, I guess, in some degree. And when they see each other later, and I'm just going, why is Lord Grantham, you know, because at the graveside he's saying, I won't make any help.
Can't do anything.
And I'm trying to figure out what changed Lord Grantham's mind. I didn't see it in the show. Did you guys note?
Well, some of it was the comment that we've farmed this land in partnership with you for almost a century or around a century. So I think, you know, I mean, I don't know if that just finally sank in or if there was something specific.
But he's the one that said it. Yeah, it was in partnership. He was the one that was being specific about it because he's the one that emphasizes it has been in partnership.
Yeah.
So I was just saying, okay, that's not new to him because he's aware of that. And let's face it, they've been in partnership for whatever it was, how many years. And it's gone into arrears, so it wasn't a great partnership.
Right.
And I mean, is this Lord Grantham again doing something he shouldn't?
Here's what I think it may be something like that, in that, you know, Mary and Tom are kind of figuring things out, and he might be feeling a little left out, and maybe this is his opportunity to not so much insert himself or do anything that's going to
not insert, but assert himself. Maybe it's more that way.
But he tried to do it behind their back so they would never find out. So I think it's just more kind of a personal relationship thing, an opportunity for him to do some good and further, you know, the cause and take care of things.
Well,
50 pounds, really?
I know, but he says that thing. He does say that thing at dinner. We must respect the past in order to build our future and all that kind of stuff. So I get that part.
Where'd you read that?
Whatever. I made it up. Oh no, another poet. So
one thing we don't want in this family.
But the whole thing, it's that, and I'm going. I still didn't see why he did it. I mean, it doesn't matter. But if anybody has any ideas, I certainly would like to know what your thoughts are on why Lord Grantham has decided to help this guy out, because it doesn't. I mean, I don't.
It seems
where
like
the change occurred.
Yeah, where the change occurred.
Like a messy gamble again, like everything else that he does, because this guy's been gone for however long.
Yeah.
He didn't help his dad because he didn't know anything about it. I'm like, what does he know? Has he even been farming all this time?
That's my point.
Like, where did this guy come from?
He's been out of the scene for God knows how many years. I mean, you could have come back any time to help Dad, and now all of a sudden you want to? I mean, it doesn't seem like it's not a good bet.
So do you think this is going to be a continuing storyline?
Yeah, because you know, obviously, you know, the whole thing with Mary and Tom, they're trying to figure out the tax situation and work the land rather than just let the tenant farmers do it or whatever.
Right.
And, you know, Tom wants to side with the farmers because he still has some socialistic bents to him.
Yep, it's not all gone.
And even Mary's comment, which is that we're in partnership with a very decent man.
Yes.
I get that part of it. And I think that may be the rub, is that, yes, he is a decent man and he is trying to help out, but
he's not a businessman.
Exactly, that's my point. And I'm going, how many times are they going down the well of, okay, he's not a good businessman, and we're going to do that again? He's making a bad bet? I mean, or, because I'm just saying, I hope it's not the same storyline. I'm hoping they're doing something else with it.
Well, I think they're clever enough to figure out a different storyline, but I agree with you on the concern about that. But the thing is that this isn't a huge gamble.
No, I mean I know it's 50.
You know, it's 50 pounds and it's a parcel of land. Granted, a parcel of land that would make it sounds like it's like, here's the map and here's this little yew tree farm, and it's gonna like stick a hole, and we're gonna have to go around yew tree farm.
It's like Minnesota being in Canada.
Exactly.
We're gonna have to. So what the hell?
We're gonna have to plow around that part.
Exactly.
But I mean, that's an inconvenience, is what it sounds like to me. So I don't think it's a huge gamble. So that's why I think it's not the same storyline, but I don't know where they're going to go.
Yeah, and I don't mean the 50 pound note or
No, I
whatever.
know.
I mean, that part's not it. But I'm just going, what did he see in this guy that made him decide to change it? Because this guy hasn't been around. I mean, if he really wanted to help his dad out, he would have been there. He wouldn't have waited until it was too late. I mean, I just don't understand what he sees in that. But okay.
I don't know.
His old sentiments.
Yeah, it's so it's like, oh,
He's
please.
like, we've been around since the Napoleonic Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have. Me too. Like, he's not that old, but
All right. Well, the only other thing I wanted to touch upon is the Tom beat where he was.
Tom.
Yeah.
Okay, starting with Mary asking Tom, "Do you think Sibby's is having a good childhood?"
Right.
And he didn't really answer that.
no, he did not.
Well, I was
he's
talking about
considering
it.
that.
The last few weeks I've been talking about how he's stuck in the middle, and he's a man between a country, or without a country, I should say, between families. He really doesn't know where he fits into the world. In fact, he was actually using those lines this week, which he was saying to a man without a country. And I don't think he understands where he is or how he fits in. And I think that's, the whole idea of that land out there, the promised land. Well, let's face it, a lot of his countrymen have gone.
Yes.
At this point, they, and have made something in their lives. So
Yes.
I'm sure he's heard word of that. So the idea of going to America and starting fresh, I mean, that was
Incredibly
a lot of
enticing.
people's, the idea of it.
But
Because,
what I think is so interesting is they put up such a stink about him going back to Ireland
yeah.
with little Sibby when she
taking her
was a
back.
baby.
Yeah.
And they were sort of like, America, really? That's what you're thinking of? Now? I mean, they're like, oh, okay.
Well, what are they going to say? It's Cora's homeland, so it's not like they
can't
can
be like,
really
"That's
speak
disgusting."
ill of it. So
Yeah, fair point, but it's an awfully long way
That's true.
compared
It's
to
true.
Ireland.
Well,
It
no,
just seemed to me like there
absolutely,
was
yeah.
not, I mean, maybe it's to come,
Right.
because this is just the beginning conversation about it.
Yeah.
But I thought, why is there not more of an uproar if they were so
you're going to take our
concerned?
grandchild all the way to
All
America?
the way to America?
Yeah, I get that part. Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that. But but it's kind of like the kids are like with the nanny. That it's like they barely pay attention to them. But I agree, though. I mean, you're going to go all the way to America and take simple. I mean,
Right.
It did seem very abrupt and out
Yeah.
of place, and one of those like the 2 episodes ago when he was right after the party and everything, and he's wondering and like,
Right.
Yes.
but dude, you fit, like it's working.
Yeah, but
it was another one of those moments like
Yeah.
that's all in you. That's
I know
not,
exactly,
like,
but that's the
reality,
point.
and it
He
sucks.
doesn't feel comfortable in the clothes, and let's face it, he could get rid of all that in America and just make himself however he wanted to in America. There is you don't have that history.
And he did have a point with his daughter being the daughter of a uppity
Exactly.
driver, and,
That's
like, that whole
I get
thing
that
will
part of
always
it.
exist.
Yeah.
It was a great argument. It really
Yeah,
was.
it was, but I mean,
America
but also
really-
to pull her away from her entire family is, I mean, that's such a drastic measure.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Maybe he should go to Italy instead. It's not as far.
He fell prey
Okay.
to break
Scandinavia.
He doesn't need to go anywhere. He needs to be protected by Mrs. Hughes and everybody else because he is obviously
He needs it.
a little bit special. So
Okay.
stay at Downton. Stop playing.
Special.
We
All
know
right.
better.
Special.
Okay,
They do.
so Tom, you need to stay there.
You need to
'cause you're a
stay,
little special.
Branson.
So, all right.
Oh, and the little dig at
Oh, yeah, okay.
Edith in that scene.
Oh, let's talk. Okay, let's get into this. Because Tom is feeling like an intruder, and Edith says, "Welcome to the
Welcome to the
club."
club.
And Mary says, "Please."
Stop moaning.
So the sisters are back to normal.
Yes.
That was a
okay.
nice moment.
The equilibrium has returned between the
Yes.
sisters.
So,
Appreciate
Stop
that.
moaning.
so I think with that line, I'm going to say that Mary's mourning is officially over. So, because now she's telling her to stop moaning.
Stop moaning.
Yeah.
Biting personality.
Yeah, so we're back. All right. All right. I would like to move on to Alfred's story on a lighter side. Let's talk about Alfred.
Alfred.
Like I said earlier, he's joining Top Chef London. And he gets the post and, the whole idea that he's training and, Patmore. But I like that Patmore has to ask Carson if it's okay if we help him train.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Well,
was
it's
like,
sort of, it's sort of extra credit,
No, I get that part, but usually, I think of Patmore, the kitchen's mine.
She's-
You don't get
yeah,
to tell
that's
me what
true.
to do in the kitchen.
Yeah.
That's what I think. But so I was kind of just taken a little back by
Yeah.
her asking Carson. I go, oh, well, that seemed very
But
proper of her.
Alfred is Carson, so to speak. So
Right.
it's kind of nice that she doesn't want that tension.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was just reminding me, oh, that's right, he's running the show. It's not just hers, but and she did the right thing and all that other stuff. So that was kind of nice. So anyway, so he's Daisy's training him, making the little tough.
And she's a little bit in hog
Pastry.
heaven when she's doing it,
my God,
right?
yeah.
She says, I feel a little conflicted because we're helping him leave.
Yeah. And
But-
Patmore, again, I mean, how weird that Patmore says the right thing. That's what we should be doing because we're helping
Yeah.
him. So, exactly. And I was going, usually Mrs. Hughes says something like
I know. Well, that's right. It's like Mrs. Patmore's kind of
Yeah.
Mrs. Hughes of the kitchen.
Yeah,
When the letter comes and he doesn't
Right.
know whether or not he's going to be tested, she says, "Do you want me to open it for
Yeah, she
you?"
reads it.
And the with the thing with Daisy and Valentine's Day a couple of episodes ago, how she's feeling
She's
very
doing it all.
motherly over her little chickens
Yeah.
in the kitchen.
But he makes a great bechamel, and
Yes, he does.
and the
the
tart
little
pastry things go
pâté au
over
choux or
really
whatever it
well
is.
Delicious.
at dinner time. So they're very impressed, and then he's off to London. Of course. Oh, the other thing that was interesting is that Jimmy's sitting there, ribbing him the whole time. Pardon the pun.
Yeah.
I'm over. I want him gone.
I know, don't you? But Ivy kind of puts him in his place. She goes, "Look, he's showing ambition."
Yeah.
Basically
Yes.
saying you don't have any, and this guy at least is trying to better his life, and all Jimmy wants to do is have fun.
Have fun.
So
Well, and I think that might be something that comes up because they keep baiting that
Yeah.
story with
We're-
Jimmy, wanting to be a playboy and
Right.
just have fun and drink champagne and chase girls and, kind of have the life of a Downton upstairs.
without working for it.
Well, and he knows how to have fun as a.
Oh, he wants to have fun
in the
downstairs
pubs.
too. Yeah, just saying.
He does okay.
Yeah, so.
But I feel like that's going to come back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
and remember, he helped out Thomas last season, two seasons ago. Yeah.
Yeah, when he didn't.
So he does have some nobility
Yeah.
in his character, but
not
it's
much.
just been a
Little bit.
long time since
Little
we've
bit, just
seen
a little.
it.
Yeah, and I'm bored.
But more
Yeah.
interesting to me is that Alfred goes there and he's, and I know this is an American reference, but I swear to God, it sounded like the guy that was there training these cadets, so to speak. It was
Yeah.
like the soup Nazi from Seinfeld. So I couldn't get over it. I mean, he's French, and it's the Ritz, I guess, is in,
Yes.
the Ritz in London. They're talking about the Vichyssoise and going over the questions. Of course, Alfred can't answer one. He's just free. I mean, but it's almost I couldn't tell if he didn't know or he just was freezing or
scared.
both.
Yeah.
I felt like he was intimidated because
Yeah.
it said Vichyssoise right on the chalkboard in front of him, and he's looking right at it.
Vichy,
Vichy,
how do you
I
spell
couldn't
that?
say.
Yeah, how do you pronounce that?
Interesting side note in the
Yeah.
production, when so the guys are all standing at their tables and the
They had the
teachers
nice
up
wide
front,
shot.
and they had this great wide shot that was very pretty. If you'll notice, the floor was covered in flour. Did you
Yeah.
see it?
I did not.
It was
notice that.
wild. Yeah.
Covered in flour, and you could see when the
footprints.
teacher was up, he'd moved, there was a little footprint, and it kind of shown up. So I think it was probably a bright white floor or a modern floor.
Or something like that, yeah.
That they needed to cover up and figured we'd just cover it with flour because there would be flour around.
Or just because they did it for the reflecting property of that, because it really lit the place up. It was nice. It was
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
a good effect. I don't know how legit or accurate that is for that. I mean, why would the London Ritz place have flour all
on the
over?
floor?
Who knows? Maybe they do.
No,
I don't
but I
know.
thought it was a good fix,
It was.
actually.
Or maybe they do that because maybe it wasn't flour. It could have been sawdust, and it soaks up whatever spills in the
and
kitchen. Or
that's
who knows?
how it
Whatever it is, but it was cool.
I think it was a modern production element.
Okay,
is what I think it
well,
was. But I thought
Tammy
it
goes
was.
with
I just
that.
thought it was interesting. so.
Anybody know what the Ritz was like in London back in 1923 or so? Let us know.
And what the floor in the
Exactly.
teaching kitchen was like
Let us know.
specifically.
Exactly. And then finally, Soup Nazi goes over to Alfred. And he's tasting his things, and
Yes.
it looks like
His little poached pear
I thought it
and-
was a Top Chef. I thought he was gonna, this is the challenge.
Right?
So yeah,
Quick fire.
the quick fire challenge. Thank you.
Yeah.
But
Didn't
Maybe
go
you should
so
be making
well.
Gordon Ramsay references. That'll
that'd be better. Yeah,
for
but I
our-
hadn't watched
for
that
them
one,
over
so I don't
there.
know it.
Sorry.
Exactly.
Sorry, John doesn't just sit watching TV all day long.
Yeah. All right, but he doesn't get in.
No.
Sadly enough, he doesn't make it.
Yeah, not
And-
in the top 4.
No.
And screw Jimmy for what he said. I'm sure they say that
Said
to
to
everybody. Just got to take him
everybody.
down
That was
instantly.
Yeah, somebody's got to punch that boy.
Right?
Slap him.
Exactly.
I was hoping it would be Ivy.
Yeah,
I mean,
that would have been
Just
nice.
one good
He's
slap.
not as bad, obviously, as O'Brien and Thomas and all that, but boy,
No.
he's just got it in for Alfred and has to take him down every chance he can. And I'm sure it's just because they're too.
Footman.
Which is
Exactly, they're
lame.
too
He
much in
got the
competition to each other.
girl.
Yeah, what
He
is it?
got the girl. Why does he have to keep
there's no
ragging on
reason for it.
him?
No reason for it.
No.
But okay, but worse than Alfred losing is the whole Molesley deal.
Molesley.
So Carson
What a great couple of scenes in this episode, right?
Way to intercut the nice little story because, Carson gets a great idea. Hey, we're going to lose Alfred. He's going to be off, in London making whatever, puff pastries for the soup Nazi. So we got to fill the spot. And, of course, he asked, and Mrs. Hughes thinks it's a great idea, so they bring Molesley in.
Oh, Molesley.
And then I love his, just trying to figure this out. And I say, well, I can't really accept this, right away. I mean, because I can't accept my fall. Yeah, exactly. I'm a trained butler. I'm a valet. The way you've been going on and on about how you hate the work you're getting and how it's beneath you. I mean, you think you take something that's above what you're getting now. You were making deliveries for, what was his name?
He's tamping asphalt in the
street.
Yes.
But he was a delivery boy for the baker, whatever his name. I can't remember his name.
I think it was Mr. Baker,
Bakewell
or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, Bakewell's.
And and Carson is insulted.
Completely.
Like you should jump at the chance to be a footman. But and part of me is going, well, he's got a point. Molesley's got a point. But he is a beggar, so he shouldn't be a chooser.
We thought we established that last episode.
Yeah,
apparently not.
No.
Maybe he's not a beggar, apparently, because he is very choosy and said.
Yeah, but I love his retort to Carson. He says that, after mature deliberation.
Oh my God, that speech was fantastic.
And I think Molesley I don't know that I'd ever call him a mature deliberator. I don't think I would
not
ever
before.
use that as a.
Well, and so this is the last scene you're talking about between the two of them, right? So the glee on Carson's face.
To be able to tell him.
Oh, really? Well, had you considered my offer when it was an offer, your life would be different now.
With you.
And in that speech, Molesley talks about my downward path.
He had to cover it with his dad.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I have to discuss my downward path with my dad. And then the last couple of lines.
Yeah.
Well, you've missed your chance. And Molesley's answer?
I usually do.
As I generally do. It just sums him up. As I
He's like glum.
It's like glum.
Yeah, the character glum.
As I generally do.
And I no longer feel bad for him. I felt really bad for him for the last 3 episodes. Like, Molesley can't catch a break. Now it's like, Molesley.
He doesn't want a break, is what it looks like.
You are the Eeyore of Downton Abbey.
Eeyore, yeah.
Eeyore.
That was the other thing I was thinking.
There you go, Eeyore. That's a good
glum
one.
instead. So. All right, speaking of Eeyore, let's go to Isabel and the Dowager.
Oh, it's been so nice them getting along.
I know. I've been talking about how much fun I've been having seeing these two ladies, kind of being on the same side and being positive forces for each other. And then they go, oh, shoot.
Here we go.
Yeah, Julian decided to throw a curve, went right back to what it used to be, and they're back nipping at each other. And it was nice, though, interesting that the doctor comes to Isabel to say, hey, listen, give this guy a break, help me out with the John Peg thing. And they have a moment there that strained their relationship between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor and Isabel?
Yeah, because, he kind of gets on her for, not being positive or
he basically told her, I can't make you believe that you're loved or whatever it was. And she's like, that's really harsh.
Yeah, and that reminded me of what Rosamond said to Edith last week, and how they finally had that kind of, and finally somebody said that's harsh. And it was interesting that the doctor said something, because I wouldn't expect him to, it's almost like he's stepped over a line
exactly
there. Like Carson did with Mary. There you go.
He wants her.
So I think that's actually good. I think that was moving that along. Nice. I mean, it's a little road bump.
That was him saying, look, Trick, I love you. We want you here. Get it together.
And I'm going to be honest with you.
Courtney speaks, doctor. Nicely
get
done.
it together, Isabel.
Yeah. And hopefully he'll shake her a few more times to get her, to awaken her that.
See, I think she's somebody who can hear that. Yeah. I mean, as much as it's harsh and as much as she called him on being harsh with her, I think she can hear that kind of criticism. And she's somebody who won't be lost on.
Yeah. Right. And, she's still grieving, so she's still going through that, so I'm sure it's...
And she didn't ask him to leave.
No.
She didn't kick him out.
No.
She just said that was harsh, and they had their...
And by the way, they went together to the Dowager,
Exactly.
So...
but the other thing about that was she's also having that conversation of I'm not one of them. I don't belong here.
Yeah.
And so that was where his thing came from.
Yeah.
And that's sad. That's really sad because she, like Tom, this death has created has severed the link between those two people and the place where they are now, and so it's very hard for them to figure out what's what.
And we had a couple of those. Obviously, Edith, doesn't feel like she belongs there. Has never felt like she belongs there. And Tom,
welcome to the club.
And then even Isabel. But even if you can look at it, Alfred's not really feeling like he didn't. I don't know that he really felt like he belonged with those other cooks at the Ritz. I mean, I'm sure he wanted to.
Because they brought that up when the guy asked him. He's like, "What are you haven't been cooking for a living?"
Exactly. So I mean, there was that theme running through there, that people not feeling like they belong right in their own skin, not necessarily where they are in terms of their location. So
you could also put that on with Anna and Bates.
Oh, absolutely.
That they're not in where they belong either.
Yeah. So
excuse me.
But to carry that through, so of course the Dowager begrudgingly takes on John Pegg as a gardener. And what was it she said to Isabel? She said, "I worry that you're." Yeah,
Doesn't your halo grow heavy?
That was my favorite line this week.
That was mine too, yeah. I wonder.
Must be like wearing a
tiara 24 hours a day.
Around the clock. Yes. So,
around the clock,
God.
of course.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And she finishes up, because Isabel's like, well, don't you care a little? And she's like, nobody cares as much as you do.
But when they're walking out of the garden and the little sound she's making.
Oh, my gosh, yes! As they're walking.
Like she keeps doing
clucking chicken.
I know.
Just keeps going on.
And it's like, whoever editing is going, no, keep it going. Let's.
It was so good.
Wow.
Loved it.
The Dowager's.
Oh my gosh, that was hilarious.
Nice. But of course, later on, she finds that something amiss on the desk, and we learn that the paper knife, the letter opener, I guess, is missing. So,
from the Swedish ambassador or whatever it is.
Exactly. And she's worried that they're gonna strip the house clean.
She's like, I should just let the criminals come in.
Oh my God. I was like, I'm thinking,
awesome.
It's almost like Julian, he writes the story and then he goes, okay, now after I've done writing all the story and the next part, I'm going to go back and write.
Grace notes.
No, I'm going to write the Dowager's lines and have some fun. That's what it seems
his
like.
reward.
Exactly.
Once he gets the story all written
That's
out.
the dessert after, the meal of writing the whole thing. Now I'm going to go back.
He wrote the part for her and knows what she can do. So
and if you know who can,
why not?
Well, yeah, when you know that someone's going to hit that thing so hard out of the park, you just set it up every time. What the heck? Why not? Wow. I mean,
it's great fun.
It's almost, fun. For me, it's the same thing with the Molesley character. You know that Molesley's going to deliver this glumly Eeyore-like line, and so, okay, let's give it to him. He hits it hard.
Every time.
Yeah, so that's fun. All right, but so we don't know how that's going to pay off or where they're going with that, but
but that scene we saw in the coming ups, that scene continues.
Yeah.
Where they're talking in the living room. So.
So who knows where we're going with that?
There will be more.
But even worse on the upcomes are I want to talk about Thomas and Baxter, because this to me is they're really setting something up here. So we learn obviously Baxter's running her own number. She's bringing the OJ to Cora.
Yep.
She's got the sewing machine out, which is why this is the newfangled machine of the week.
Right.
Is the sewing machine, and everybody's got their own reactions to it. Mrs. Patmore's afraid of it.
That was so good.
Some people are going, oh, this is really cool. She fixes Mrs. Patmore's apron, and so and all this is happening. We finally get the scene between Baxter and Thomas to learn a little bit about them, and we know that he got him the gig, obviously. But she says, "You know why I really appreciate you getting me this job." So there's some backstory that we don't know yet about Baxter and what happened there. So I'm sure we're going to find that out, and where I'm sure she's done something horrible,
right?
Some bad thing happened in her past.
Right, and so he's kind of holding it against her, saying, "I want you to get me upstairs info. I want you to get them to trust you, and I want to hear every single detail, no matter how small."
Yeah, and it's all for intel. Because he knows he's not getting good intel because nobody likes him.
Yep.
Right.
So and he doesn't want to make the same mistake. So he's fed her. He's given her all the lowdown on Downton. And this is how she's going to. What is it? She has to do it. Play up the American card. Praise Sybil. And I'm going, wow. All this machination. So who knows what's happening here? We just know it's not going to be good.
No, it's not.
Can't trust Thomas at all.
At all.
And just when he was on a trajectory of doing, kind of becoming a nicer
decent
guy, and doing the right things and stuff. And now it just seems all underhanded.
He can't help himself.
Can't help himself. It's Scorpion and the Frog. So, yeah. All right. Well, any more on that? I don't know. I just like that they're setting stuff up, and that there's this dark undercurrent. So something bad's going to happen. But the biggest thing I think they set up is Edith. She's lying about why she's going to London.
First of all, she was wearing that ugly dress again.
She was no longer the brilliant, independent woman.
No.
She wasn't showing off the nice shoulders as you
No,
Okay.
wearing that ugly dress.
No.
And lying about when she's going to London.
And going
just as Courtney was talking about a couple weeks ago with Anna.
Yes, you were.
And whether or not there would end up in a baby, what do we think? She goes to the doctor for a reason. What do we think? Do we think she's pregnant?
I do.
Okay.
Maybe a little lump on her breast she needs to get checked out.
Something.
Yeah, I think she's pregnant.
She's definitely pregnant.
In the coming months, she's got a little tummy pooch, too.
Is that what you think?
Yes, I do think so.
Everybody else got away. Braithwaite wasn't pregnant.
Right.
Anna's not pregnant.
Right.
So you
they
think
gotta
this
give
is
us she's the third.
And
one
it's
that
great
happened.
because can't find Gregson.
Right.
He's out of the picture.
So she's going to be the unwed mother.
Oh my God.
Having a bastard child at Downton.
Scandalous.
Once again, Edith, out of favor.
Jeez.
Yeah, scandalous. How could you do this to the family?
It sucks, man.
And with, by the way, somebody who's beneath your station and who's trying to be a Nazi.
And who's married.
And now,
who's married.
And now it looks like may have run away.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
Some people-
been imprisoned, or, I mean, we don't know what's going on.
No, but I'm saying some people might interject, he's pregnant. He got her pregnant and then took off.
left.
But what did she sign really?
We don't know. That's the thing. We
That's
don't know.
why I'm worried. Because when she walked over there and I was like, Edith, you didn't even read it.
I know, exactly.
Scan it.
Yeah, we talked about that at length.
We
I was like, what are you,
did.
crazy?
Why?
Yeah, so
And
she
now
doesn't
it's a
read it.
baby.
No, there's a baby.
No, there's
Or so we think. Can you imagine what happens if there's not a baby and we're all going, oh, okay, so maybe no.
Sorry.
Not a baby. So but definitely I think there's a baby. All right. I don't, if there's anything else, let's talk about it now. Otherwise,
Yeah,
we gotta-
Mrs. Patmore wouldn't mind getting rid of her corset.
Oh, yeah. Instead of a
Nice line.
refrigerator.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's true. They're getting a new fridge.
Yeah.
See, more
Why
technology.
do we need that?
Yeah, we usually
the
only get
icebox works fine.
right. We usually only get one newfangled machine.
Right, there's the telephone. That was the newfangled machine for a while.
We had a mixer.
The
last
mixer, the sewing
But this,
machine, and
you know,
now we're going to
we didn't actually get the fridge. We only heard about the
Heard
fridge. So maybe we'll get the
possibility.
fridge next week. We'll get to see the fridge come in. Ooh.
Poor Mrs.
How
Patmore's just
exciting.
hoping she can retire or die before she
Before
gets
she has to
taken
deal
over.
with all of it.
Right.
All right. All right. So since we're talking about something, quote, topical, let's bring in our news and gossip.
Alrighty.
TV news.
Downton Abbey is still not coming to the U.S. until I think it's January 5th. It's already underway in New Zealand and Portugal.
Wow.
Let's see, Portugal. Let's see, got Downton Abbey last night. Finland tomorrow, and Norway gets it next week.
Over 120 countries, and I don't know how many are getting it now, but I think America is one of the
Still
last.
not America.
We can't talk to our friends about the fact that
No,
we're
they
watching
get very
Downton Abbey now
angry.
because
They
they
get
get
very
mad at
angry.
us.
Very
Nope.
All right, Julian Fellows. Talking about his decision to include a black character, which was Jack Ross, who was in last week's episode. He hopes that it will encourage shows to follow suit. Let's see. He says, I think the world has been very unjust to black people. They have had a very rough time. If I was growing up now, I would want to see some winners among that group. I have a little more, and then we need to discuss this. Okay. Last year, he said he hoped to open it up ethnically a bit, meaning Downton Abbey, and revealed he was considering adding a black or Indian character. He also said, we've got to turn that corner. In 10 years, nobody will know what we were talking about. That is what I hope. A couple of quotes I want to read you from the notes.
Okay. From the,
One of them, this is
people
the
writing in.
writing into that story.
Okay, to that story, got it.
which was in the
These are people commenting on that story.
Daily Mail.
Okay, go ahead.
a couple people saying that, hey, way to go, putting in a black character so we can stop talking about the scandalous rape. You know, it was just a big diversion was one of the
So
things.
they thought he was doing that to, oh wow, to change the story.
Other people saying that it's all about him being PC.
Okay.
This London from Fiona said, what is Jules on about? This is like some comment one would have made in 1983, not 2013. Doesn't he watch any television but Downton Abbey? Nearly every show has an ensemble cast today that has a white, Asian, Afro-Caribbean,
This is
and
or British TV. I assume they're talking about.
Yes, they are. Or Oriental cast member in a prominent role. And what about Jules, Julian Fellows? What about Luther?
Idris Elba.
Right. You watch that show,
I
don't you?
love that show.
Yeah.
Great show.
He's the
great.
front and center star. Adrian Lester in Hustle, not a show that we get in the U.S. The major star. All the major shows have them. And then the final comment that I want to read before we go in, JP71 from Leicester, United Kingdom said, Julian Fellows is very much ensconced within the black community, so I really value his comments here. Obviously sarcasm. Let's talk. You're laughing your ass off. Speak, Courtney.
I Wasn't it just 2 years ago when he was commenting on how the reason there was no black character is because that was true to what the story would be. So to say that you brought it in because you see this void of blackness, it's bullshit to me. Like, I don't know. It's fine that now it's legit. Like it fits because
that's what I'm saying.
Like that's fine.
Yes.
But, like stick with that argument. Don't pretend like it was some wondrous step on your part to
altruistic act.
It would have been. I think it would have been more. Well, it would have been a comment that would have been better received if you said, I got a lot of flack for it, and I think early on I talked about the how it was authentic of the day, but I was looking for ways to do that, and this is a way I thought that was legitimate to the time.
Thank you.
And that would have been far more interesting, and I think a compelling argument, and people would have responded differently. But the way he said it here, I just don't think he did him any favors.
He's doing a spin. He's spinning it.
It did seem like a little bit of a spin.
Yeah.
And first of all, it's a period piece. So I agree that the authenticity to me is more important.
Of course.
Because the lack of any kind of ethnicity in this it speaks volume.
Mm-hmm. Yes. There were a lot of comments about that too in this story. Okay, this is gossipy gossip. All right.
Great.
Yay.
So we have from the Guardian. There was a photo shoot for the Guardian with Tom Cullen, who plays Anthony Gillingham, Julian Ovenden, who plays Charles Blake, and Rob James Collier, who plays Thomas Barrow, in a photo shoot wearing modern 21st century clothing. James Collier, Thomas Barrow, and Cullen, plays Gillingham, wear the same underpants.
Okay.
Gray Calvin Klein boxers.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Wow, that sounds like cutting edge news from the Guardian.
And just
is that page 6? What?
It's the Guardian, which is pretty much. And then Julian Ovenden had a funny quote. He says, "The Downton men tend to go one of two ways. You get the girl and then she dies. Or you're killed off. Every man to whom Lady Mary has taken a shine has croaked in the end. One on the Titanic, one in her bed, and one in a car crash, despite there being hardly any cars in England." The reporter says if he's likely to become the next victim of her curse, and he laughs. Lady Mary's death blank. I can't say it here. No, not as far as I know.
Okay, death blank.
Lady part.
It starts with a V.
The blank being referring to female.
Okay, a couple other things. This is a little bit of an older story. It came out a couple weeks ago. Robert James Collier, he's wearing a wig. In Downton this season.
I didn't notice that.
He just before he started shooting this season, he was playing a drug dealer in an upcoming British thriller called Wayland's Song, required to him to have a skinhead cut. And so he begged Downton Abbey, "Could I please shave my head?" They said yes. Then they had to get him a wig, and the wig cost £4,000.
Wow.
That's
he says,
a good wig, huh?
I think they're regretting letting me shave my head.
Wow. That's an expensive wig, man. Okay.
And then I just have a couple of things from our YouTube comments.
Right,
SF Singer said, "I wonder if Edith will wind up pregnant."
There we go.
Poetic Justice 1000 said that after hearing my news and gossip about Gary Carr's character, his prediction is that maybe he will be a possible love interest for Thomas. I love my far-fetched predictions. And there was someone else.
Well, let's talk about that though, because Julian said he wanted to bring in positive role models.
Exactly.
And the person he based the Jack Ross's character on, I forgot his name. Is it
Jack Ross is the character.
Jack Ross is the character. He didn't have a sterling reputation.
No, he was quite a character. He was bisexual. He was. Everybody knew how big he was. That was the big comment. He's a very big man, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
And, was constantly seducing ladies to have them foot his bill for everything. So I don't think that they're going to
foot his bill, is that a euphemism? I'm not sure.
Hashtag foot the bill.
There you go.
Oh, man.
So, I'm sure they're not going to bring that stuff up. But as we talked about in news last week.
But that's what makes his comment so disingenuous, is you wanted to have positive role models for ethnic characters.
Unless he doesn't bring that into the Downton story.
Well,
but if he's basing it on a true character,
exactly
that's
my point. Then you could have had any jazz singer and you could have made it up and have him be positive. But why
he didn't have to be, right? He didn't have to be a real person.
Yeah, because didn't he also take a lot of money from people or something like that?
That's foot the bill. The ladies were footing the bill.
Yeah, you had already mentioned that. So I was like, I don't quite get why. It seems like such damage control, and he should have just been honest about it from the get-go.
He also died nearly penniless. Jack Ross.
Okay.
So,
awesome.
not exactly the fabulous role model. So I think, I totally agree with you.
All right.
That is all I have for
That's
news
all
and
our news?
gossip.
All right, great. Thank you very much. Very interesting news.
Prediction.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Well, we think Edith is going to be pregnant.
Boy, we're going to feel stupid if we got that wrong.
That's unanimous. Well, I mean, I think Courtney makes the point best when she says
I do too. I agree with that.
No,
Been teased twice.
Exactly.
Third
so,
time's a charm.
charm.
Or not.
Or a bun in the oven.
Who is about to be a Nazi?
Yeah.
Like, that's awful.
Yeah.
I have a prediction based on news, so it's not a very fair one, but I have another prediction too, that Tom will not go to America.
I don't think so either. He's got to stay because we already know about the whole nanny thing, unless that was a whole fake storyline.
Unless it was a fake storyline, he needs to fall in love with the nanny, which is going to be the thing that will keep him here.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
But I don't know how much further we want to go down into that story. I could see him marrying the nanny. Mm-hmm. But then he's still going to have that upstairs-downstairs conflict of who he is and where he belongs. I don't know how that's going to go.
Marrying the nanny's not going to make that better.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
What's that? What will be?
Marrying the nanny's not going to make that any better, and not for Sybil or Baby Sibby.
Sibby. What a terrible nickname, Baby Sibby. I think it sounds lame. Okay. Wow. Crickets on that one. Okay. My other prediction, we know Shirley MacLaine is going to come back before the end of this season, and I think she is going to, her presence will reunite Violet and Isabel.
Okay.
They will have a common enemy. And that's just going to be
the enemy
awesome
of my
television.
enemy is my friend. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, that's fair enough. That sounds good.
Oh, goodness.
So I have a bit of cheater predictions based on news.
What
but that's okay.
I don't know if this is going to happen, but I kind of want this to happen. So we got the whole Bates thing. So
Yes.
everybody wants him to avenge the crime that happened. But I think what I'm hoping is that it looks like he's going to actually kill Green, and because of his love for Anna, and maybe she intercedes or whatever, but he doesn't because he doesn't want to do that. But of course, Mr. Green will still get his comeuppance in another way. But I'm hoping that Bates is not, or if it comes to that moment, I hope he stops and doesn't put her
in
misery.
jeopardy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So I could also see Lord Gillingham being involved in this subterfuge.
I think Mary is gonna.
I do too.
So because I really don't. I mean, obviously, who doesn't? I mean, the visceral reaction. We want Bates to take him out. We want him to do that. But I also don't want. I don't want to do another prison story, and I don't want Anna to be without him.
No.
But I want somebody has to make sure that this is righted.
I'm telling you, it's going to be great television when it happens. The unfortunate hunting accident.
And if he does end up doing it or whatever, then anyway, I hope it's just in some fashion.
Do you have any other predictions, you?
I think that Mr. Napier and Miss Mary are going to do something real naughty.
Oh! Naughty!
Only because she was just too excited.
She was vivacious.
She was way too excited about it.
All right.
So
she was.
Fun is going to happen with that.
Naughty. All right, Courtney, let them know where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Stewart Starlet.
You can find me on Twitter at Tamara Berg, TamaraBerg. My website is tamaracentral.com. You can find everything else there.
You can't find me anywhere but here, but I will be here, and we will talk to you next time.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later. Cup of tea.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.